Double Act is, in my opinion, the oldest, most popular Jacqueline Wilson book, by which I mean a lot of her older novels are not quite as popular or not as republished as frequently these days, compared to obviously her more contemporary titles. But Double Act is one that I see talked about a lot when I watch videos of people showing their collections. They pretty much always feature Double Act. It's a very popular story, and I think there are several reasons for that. The first is that we actually have two protagonists for a change, which means that we have different personalities for the reader to relate to. You will either find yourself relating to Garnet or to Ruby, both of whom are, of course, identical twins. I also think the fact that it's an epistolary written in the form of a diary, it's a little bit different, and I think reading something when it's written in diary format is quite a pleasant experience when you're a child. It is a little bit different and more exciting to just straight up a chapter narrative. And I think because it's got that creative edge, or that enhanced creative edge, it's a little bit more unique than a lot of her, or pretty much anybody's works from the 90s. This was released in 1995 originally, published by Yearling, Doubleday, and then also Corgi, with illustrations, of course, by Nick Sharratt, who is fabulous. And as I said, this is about the identical twins, Ruby and Garnet. And they are 10 years old and living with their father and grandmother. Their mother, Opal, is no longer alive. Interesting that we see the return of the name Opal with Opal Plumstead. It's not very often that Jacqueline Wilson recycles names, but sometimes she does, and Opal is a beautiful name. Ruby is the outgoing one. She wants to be an actor. Garnet is quiet, shy, not really bothered when Ruby gets all of the attention. Suddenly, things kind of get flipped up into turmoil when her father meets a new woman and they have to move and their life begins to change. Ruby very much takes the lead in a lot of ways and wants them to audition for an adaptation of The Twins at Sinclair's, which is, quite a sweet reference there. I know a lot of Jacqueline Wilson's works are loosely based around Enid Blyton, so I kind of liked that reference there. Garnet obviously doesn't really want to do this, and they have some falling out, they have issues at school, one of them does better than the other, and ultimately the novel is about them learning that they are individual people with different preferences in life, with a little bit of animosity as sisters would have. I really enjoyed. I think having the two characters works really well. I think they're different enough that they have very distinct personalities, but they're also similar in certain ways that you can tell they are identical twins. I really like it. It's brilliant. They also make a cameo appearance in a later book, but I won't mention which book it is. I have read it. I believe I've reviewed it. I really enjoy the characters. I think they're very well written, very well developed. I do think given their age, being about 10 years old, they're maybe thinking, especially with Ruby, is making too many big decisions for herself. But other than that, I can see why Double Act remains quite a popular title among a lot of people, both from my generation and the more recent generations reading Jacqueline Wilson for the first time. Although it's never been my favourite and never will be my favourite, definitely one I'm always happy to recommend.